Kyren Williams is gone. Running back situation. Chris Tyree obviously can fly. What's the running back room look like?
Yeah, I mean, if you would ask me a few months ago, I would have said they're actually in a pretty good spot. Certainly, Kyren Williams is a big loss, and he was one of the better running backs in college football, and definitely a leader for Notre Dame. But Logan Diggs, as a freshman last year, played really well. He's actually coming off an off-season shoulder injury, but he should be. I don't know if he's going to be back ready for Ohio State, but should be back sometime in September. So for the majority of the season, that's good. Chris Tyree, obviously, I think needs to take that step as a major running back, like you mentioned. He has the 4.3 speed. He is a little slight in stature, so hopefully he can break some more tackles or get some running room. Offensive line play, I mean, I know we'll get to that here soon, but it's going to be better this year, so that will certainly help. Audric Estime is a sophomore or a redshirt freshman. I should say they got a little bit of playing time last year in garbage time. Later on in the year, big running back, kind of built more like the ones that you would see at Alabama or Georgia. I'm not saying he's at that caliber, but certainly has the look of one. And then the unfortunate thing is they did have a pretty big time kid in Jadarian Price coming in as a freshman. He tore his Achilles, if I'm not mistaken, about a month ago, and he's going to miss the entire season. So right now they're kind of down to 3 guys without Logan Diggs probably ready for game 1. So they have another freshman in Jabron Payne, who they stole from, I believe, Cincinnati late in the process this past year. Actually, after signing day, I think he was already committed and signed to Cincinnati and ended up, Indiana. It was Indiana. I apologize. He came over with Dylan McCullough when he ended up coming to Notre Dame from Indiana as the new running backs coach. So you have those 3 to start the year, and you're hoping that you can kind of abide by those 3 until Logan Diggs comes back. So I do think Logan Diggs is going to be a pretty big part of the puzzle there.
Okay, so the offensive line is going to be better. Why?
Well, certainly the tackle spots. You had 2 guys that started late in the season for him last year, or at least halfway through. Blake Fisher got hurt game 1 against FSU, came back for the playoff game and played well. He was a 5-star kid coming out of high school, looks the part. Honestly, I think he's probably going to be a first-round pick down the road. And he is actually most likely going to start out at right tackle this season because Joe Alt, who was another really talented freshman that they brought in, played about half the season for him last year. He's back starting at left tackle. You have Jarrett Patterson back this year. He's actually probably going to move to guard. He's been at a center for Notre Dame for the last 3 or 4 seasons. Zeke Correll, who's been in the program for a while now, just a naturally better center than he is a guard. They tried him at guard last year. It didn't really work out too well. But I'm sure people on here recognize it, but he played the season before that at center when they had some injuries. Played really well against actually Alabama and a couple other good teams later on in the season. And then Josh Lugg, who's a 6th-year senior, is back. And so they just have a veteran offensive line group mixed with very, very talented young guys. And I think there's just going to be a little bit more cohesion there. And certainly some better talent. And then obviously, I mean, you bring back Harry Hiestand, who's one of the better offensive line coaches in recent memory. He left Notre Dame, went to the Chicago Bears for a few years, and then was sort of sitting out last year. And now he's back at Notre Dame under Marcus Freeman. And I think he's just a really, really good match at Notre Dame. And, I think you can certainly count on the offensive line being better simply only because he's back.